Well, for further analysis of the end of the Gaddafi regime, I'm delighted to be joined now by journalist Nabila Ramdani, who you have met the Gaddafi family on several occasions, most recently, I think, in 2010. From what do you know of them? Are you surprised they allowed themselves to be captured, that they were still in Sirte?
Well, I think, Gaddafi made it abundantly clear since the beginning of the conflict that he will leave, he's lived and he will die in Libya. So unsurprisingly, he was still in Libya when he was found. What was surprising, however, is that he was found in his home city of Sirte. Remember, yesterday in the morning, we heard reports from the NTC statesmen saying that he was in the south of the country, building up a rebel army of his own, ready to launch attacks on NTC forces. And it turned out a few hours later that effectively the Battle of Sirte was the last battle against his regime, which ended his 42 years of tyranny, but which ended him physically as well.
So we've seen evidence of the death of Muammar Gaddafi and of son Mutassim, and we know others are abroad, but we still don't know about Saif al-Islam, who is his designated successor. What are the chances of him still being alive, around, able to make some sort of comeback?
There are indeed conflicting reports about his state and indeed his whereabouts, but some reports say that he's alive and he's on his way to Niger, fleeing the country. Now, Saif al-Islam's faith is fascinating because he was the darling of the West not that long ago. He was at the heart of British establishment, London educated, and he's actually was the go-between between the West and his father, convincing him to give up his weapons of mass destruction, convincing him to cooperate in the war on terror. And he's the one who released the Islamists who are now in charge of Tripoli. So he was tipped to be the heir, not just by his father, but indeed by the West as well. Remember how the MI6 protected him from a death threat by Islamists from Qatar in 2004.
There are other members of the family, of course, in Niger. But is Libya now rid of the Gaddafi clan? Is this really the line drawn under it?
I think to a certain extent it is, but as we are hearing, one of the reasons why the National Transitional Council doesn't want to bury Gaddafi in his home city of Sirte, it's perhaps that they are afraid that in a few months' time, when things perhaps do not settle well and the Libyans start to see foreign contractors pouring in the country, there might be groups who might want to revive Gaddafi's legacy.
OK, Nabila Ramdani, thanks very much indeed for joining us this lunchtime.